medications and hair part 2, because we talked in end of 2025 about how medications affect hair, and we have been getting a lot of comments and a lot of questions, and so I wanted to go in further. There's some really cool research that we found at the end of last year that I want to share because it's so cool. One, because I'm kind of a nerd and I think all of us are nerds, but it's about how hair grows. Hair growth is not cells stacking on top of each other, theoretically, okay? Let me tell you about the research, but what these researchers found is that the sides of the follicle actually pull the hair up, and that's what causes its growth, not cells stacking on top of each other like we have thought since the 1800s. We thought that that was how hair grew. These researchers actually showed that through their research, which of course, I don't know if you've ever heard me say this, do not trust the science, test it. Always test the science. If you can't recreate it, it's not real. But let me tell you what these guys found, and then I will tell you the caveat about them. So what they showed is it is not from cells dividing and then dying and then pushing the ones above it up. What they found is that there's actually a biological motor on the inside of the follicle wall that spins and actually pulls the hair up as it grows. What these researchers did was inject, I don't even know where they find these people. I guess they're, undergrads and grad students everywhere willing to do something for money, but they actually injected into the follicle just to stop the cell division in the root, but it would actually still continue to grow because the biological machine in the follicle still pulled it up, which throws into question a whole bunch of other things that we know about hair, like anagen, catagen, telogen. Is that actually real? Is that what causes the hair bulb to fall out, or is it something more with the follicle? And they actually talked about the more research that they want to do. How does that affect thinning hair and people who are thinning, meaning each strand is getting thinner, and then people who are losing hair? Does that biological machine have some role to play in that? So just to let you guys know, we are still in cutting edge research when it comes to hair, and there's a lot of money being thrown at hair. Truly, right now, the only industry that is in the non-medical space that has more money than hair and skin is supplements. Take my supplement and you'll go back to looking like you did when you were 26. I don't want to look like I did when I was 26. I was having a baby, but you know what I'm talking about. Supplements promise everything in the world. They are very much an unregulated industry. There is some regulation in hair, and so there's a lot of money being thrown at research. So the caveat, if you look at research articles, they always talk about where they get their funding from. Take this information with a grain of salt, that there are people who are working right now to verify this. And then again, what you do, you find the research, you read it, you understand it, and then you make your own decisions. However, if you talk about this with your clients, you sound super cool. Like, oh, would you like to hear the newest research that's come out about hair? If you'd like to stop hearing about, what your client's neighbor's sister's boyfriend's mailman is doing. I don't know, different topic. But again, you will sound incredibly intelligent, super smart. Okay. So I wanted to talk about the machine that they theorize is actually making cells grow. Can you see the green strands? This is an actual structure in every cell everywhere. They're called actin protein, and they are the skeleton of everything from brain cells to blood cells to muscle cells and everything else. This is what keeps them in the shape they need to be in. And they're They're really cool. And if we have time, I actually have a video about cells because we're nerdy. But actin is part of the machine that actually, they theorize, it actually swirls around, and that swirl is what pulls it up. The other thing that is a part of this machine that actually makes sense, research that has come out, is it is also powered by topical, that means you put it on the outside, free fatty acids, specifically a free fatty acid called linoleic acid. Donna, go ahead.
Isn't linoleic acid part of the Uveni formulation?
Courtney, do you want to jump in?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so I'm making connections here.
Yes.
Doink. I did it. Well, you can't tell because my gloves, but
Yes.
I made the connection.
Yes.
Okay, thank
Courtney.
you.
Yes. Good question, Donna.
Okay.
Do you want me to share my story with it?
Yes. Yes.
Okay,
Tell them what you found.
So my experience, I have been using Uveni for about a year now. I have been on a GLP-1 that was causing massive, massive hair fallout. Between that and a really awful case of COVID, I was pulling clumps of my hair. I massage Uveni into my scalp just because it soothes. At first, I started doing it because it would soothe like the acne in my hair, and I was getting less breakouts within my scalp by using it. My hair, like the grow out is like I'm getting my hairline that's not so far receded clear back up into here. Like all of this regrowth right here has been life changing for me for sure. Cause I was about ready to buy a gosh dang topper. So my experience with it, it has been phenomenal in my healing journey with my hair growth.
When she told me that, I was like, okay, that's cool, but is there any research to back it up? When I found this, linoleic acid, which is the largest of the free fatty acids that we use in Uveni, small plug, actually are precursors to the prostaglandins. So what your body does is it absorbs them and uses them. And for this machine, it's essentially like the oil in your engine. It protects it and allows these actin proteins to spin. Truly, it's kind of amazing. And I dug hard for research before I said this. I can find 4 different papers from 4 different continents, all tying back to linoleic acid. So I'm not going to say it unless I can back it up. And if you want to see the research,
Those
I
are
have
my
it.
personal, if you guys can see my image up there, but this is my personal regrowth with it.
Wow. Pull up your picture of your
It's huge. Thank you for sharing that, Courtney. I know it's personal.
It is.
the original. Mhm.
Thank you. Stress. I actually have a whole paper about what stress does to your hair. I know, because none of us have ever experienced stress, right? No. Kimberly's like, did you see my 3-year-old? Yeah. So some of the things that directly are a result of stress is reduced blood loss. Reduced blood flow equals hair loss. And so if the follicles don't have enough blood flow, they will, for now, this is what we know, they will go into anagen. I think anagen is the dying off phase, and they will go into that faster. Autoimmune disease flare-ups can come from stress. So any of the or the psoriatic arthritis or any Hashimoto's, lupus, all of those can flare from stress. If you guys have those or you have a client who has them, you know this. And that increase in cortisol actually causes, they have a direct link between an increase in cortisol and hair loss, which is very sad because we live in a cortisol rich environment. I don't know about the rest of you guys, but like cortisol has become my roommate that doesn't pay rent. And poor diet linked to poor diet and hair loss, which is really sad because sometimes the only things that get you through a day are a Snickers bar and a Diet Coke. Just saying. So if you had these conditions and you were given medication previously, it used to be that the best options were minoxidil, Rogaine, or the rest of them that you applied topically, 5A reductase inhibitors, and we're going to go over that, and JAX inhibitors. So those were the things that you could either take or apply to your scalp. By the way, if any of your clients are using Rogaine or any of the minoxidil treatments, we have new research about them. And so you can tell them a better option. So these are the medications that they would give people for growth. Minoxidil, what it would do is there is a specific hormone, dihydrotestosterone, DHT, that actually is a derivative of testosterone, and this would block that at the follicle, which is why you can apply it topically, why you can put it on and it will get down to the follicle. It will block DHT. But, oh, it does, yep. In men, they should use a 5% solution. In women, they should use a 2% solution. If women use more than 2%, they often find excess or extreme, those were the words that they used, hair growth all over the rest of their body. So you don't want to use the
And
men's.
it grows in clear at that point if you go above that percentage.
Does it? I don't know. I've accepted the fact that I'm just gonna have sad little ponytail for the rest of my life and I move on. But so it only works as long as you use it. So if you stop at any point, whatever growth you had is gone. If you have a client who's dealing with hair loss, it's better to know. It's better to say the words and let the client make an informed decision. Again, clients want science and understanding, but if they do, they will long-term use the products that you recommend. This drug is now in a pill form that works much better, lower percentage, fewer side effects. Again, it's a prescription in the US. You can get over the counter in Europe. But if they would like to try something different, tell them to talk to their doctor about the pill form. You had something, Donna?
Yeah, fewer side effects. Does that include women experiencing clear hair
From
growth on the rest of their body?
when they what they said is fewer abnormal hair growth and fewer of the other thing they had was like spots on their skin, and so they had fewer of those.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. It's still there, but
Fewer.
fewer. Carla, did you raise your hand?
Back when minoxidil, sorry, I just had my appendix out last night.
Oh,
When the drug was being researched through,
yes.
my sister was the candidate that was the guinea pig for that. They would inject it into their scalps.
Really?
They did it a lot of different ways, and since she was a girl, most of the women did not find any effects, only the men. That's the reason why they very first came out with it for only for men. And that's the reason why I tell most of my clients that it's not worth it. So
I agree. There's a lot of side effects and there's a lot of things that can go wrong. However, just like we say, test the science, tell your clients, this is what the research is. Here's what I've found. Do your best
Speaking of when minoxidil first came out back in the 80s, when I was first studying and got certified as a trichologist, we used minoxidil in our hair and scalp clinic, and we would put it on the scalp with what's called, not with, DMSO.
That's what I was gonna say.
Dimethyl sulfoxide?
Yes. That's how we would get it on the scalp. We imported it from, somewheres in the Netherlands, I think, and then mixed it with with DMSO. And that's how we put it on the scalp. We saw great results,
Okay.
in there, in the clinic. And even with alopecia totalis, we had some good results.
Dimethyl sulfoxide has to, the reason I know this is in my organic chemistry lab, we would
Yeah.
use DMSO as a solvent, something that
Right.
would dissolve things.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of, in our labs, we have to collect all the DMSO and have it sent to waste sites
Yeah,
because it's not safe to put down the drain.
right, right.
Okay.
Silly stuff went on back then when it was first kind of available. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. That's
Well,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say, when minoxidil first came out, originally it wasn't a pill form. It was a side effect that led people to understand minoxidil helped with hair growth. So
Huh.
it started out as one thing, kind of like another pill, and ended up for hair growth. Anyway,
Yeah.
just a little interesting fact.
Mhm.
Interesting fact. That's how the most medications,
Blood pressure. Thank you.
yes,
Yeah.
most medications come about because they'll do a whole bunch of tests on E. coli, and then they move up to tests on mice and lab animals, and then they can test on humans. And very often when they test it on humans, they notice a side effect. And so then they shift and market it toward that side effect, which is why the blood pressure pill, the little blue pill, now is so common, because it was actually started as a blood pressure pill and then they found that effect and then marketed it toward that. So interesting. Anyway, next one, 5A reductase inhibitors. So if you just say a 5A inhibitor, then doctors will know what it's about. So what this reductase inhibitor does, there we go, is that the theory behind it is that we'll actually take that dihydrotestosterone and so dihydrotestosterone is thought to speed up the anagen stage. These drugs block the conversion from testosterone to dihydrotestosterone. So it's thought to stop in the middle of that. One of the things I wanted to show you guys is I got really cool thing from Stanford University that I can't wait to show you guys. But if you don't actually ever change from testosterone to DHT, it's thought that you will actually prevent that. But there are side effects that are kind of the opposite of the little blue pill. And so for males, this is kind of a very, very last resort. And then one of the other drugs that we wanted to talk about is glucagon-like peptides. More research has come out since I did that one about how these affect hair. And again, glad to show you these papers. So GLP-1s are, and if I don't say all the names right, somebody tell me, Ozempic, what are the other ones?
Monjaro,
Yeah.
Wegovy,
Wegovy,
Yes,
Trizepatide.
Manjaro, yeah.
those are the
Zepbound.
Yes, thank you, Laura. So I use the scientific names on everything, but what they are is they're all the injections. Recently, very recently, it's come out as a pill form, which at first confused me because glucagon-like peptide, a peptide is a protein that hasn't folded. And so it's a chain of amino acids. And if you take it as a pill, the first place it goes is your stomach, which is full of hydrochloric acid. And one of the big things that hydrochloric acid does is break down proteins like, eggs or beans or all the other proteins that we eat that need to be broken down. And so I actually went through and I talked to some people and looked it up. In order to take the GLP-1 as a pill form, you have to have it in 1,000 to 10,000 times the amount that's in the shot, with the idea that hopefully some of it lasts through your stomach and everything else and then will cross. And they're still testing it. From what I've heard, the pill is not as effective as the shot, but it's much more convenient. So if your clients are talking about that, you can now say, hey, here's why it's in pill form, and this is what it does, because you guys are smart enough to be stylists. Laura, you have a question?
I just had a comment. My husband started taking the pill and he's like, yeah, it is not curbing my appetite. And I'm on shots and it's of course way different, but that's very interesting. So I will pass that along. Thank you
Okay,
so much for sharing.
I'm glad you're here. It's good to know.
Yes.
So GLP-1s, what they do are they're a glucagon-like peptide. That's just the name of it. And the peptide floats through your body, and on the outside, and if we have time, we're going to get to it on the video. On the outside of your cells, you have a receptor, and you have receptors for all kinds of things, hormones, all the stuff that floats around that affects your cell. There's a receptor on the outside. Nothing can get in because it has the membrane, but what the receptor does is that peptide will come and attach. That receptor then sends signals down into your cells that actually cause changes. So one of the things that GLP-1s do is that the glucagon also decreases fatty acid synthesis. It actually stops your body from making these fatty acids in your liver, as well as promoting lipolysis. So what that means, big word, breaks down lipids. That's just what it means. It's a word called, it's a class called the lipase. And so lipolysis breaks down lipids in these tissues, which causes them to release these fatty acids. So that means your body's not holding on to fatty acids anymore. You'll actually excrete them out any way you can. One of the ways that they're excreted out is they are put into circulation, and your body uses metabolism to burn them up. But the thing is, if you're not creating fatty acids, that means you're not depositing them, which is great if you want to lose weight, wretched if you'd like to have soft hair, because what makes your hair soft is lipids. And the lipase, that's the thing that causes the lipolysis, will actually, you will create more of that and it will break down lipids. Again, fabulous if you'd like smaller thighs, terrible if you excrete it out, because one of the ways that we get rid of excess in our bodies is we sweat it out. Have you guys ever been around somebody who had too much garlic or too much onion?
I thought she was gonna say but a lot.
You can smell them. Well, lipases will excrete it out as well. And what will happen is it will actually travel down your hair shaft and break apart the lipids in your hair. Thinning, fine, like each strand is getting thinner. Like Paula showed you that her hair is, thank you, Paula, is actually thinner. It's because fewer lipids means that the hair shaft itself actually shrinks. When you have more lipids, it actually literally is thicker. It's got a bigger diameter. And so again, I'm not telling you to or not to take GLP-1s. I'm letting you know if you do, this is a side effect. And try not to toot my own horn, but Uveni helps.
Yes.
Yes.
So that's why the hair gets much more brittle.
It does.
Okay.
Yes, lack of lipids is literally what makes your hair brittle. Research, again, axial splitting, that's where it splits up the middle of the hair. That's the technical word for split ends, is because of a lack of lipids.
Well, and
Must
like
have-
Camie, like we've talked before, those lipids help that cuticle lay nice and flat. So what happens is when those lipids are depleting, it begins to do what Camie has referred to as the pine cone method, where the cuticle will literally just start to expand out, and that's the hair snaps because the cuticle is not laying even.
And if the lipids aren't there, the protein itself, which is water soluble, will wash out. There's research that talks about once the lipid layer is gone, how much keratin washes out, which will again cause it to shrink. So yeah, again, tell your clients this so they know, and so that you can be the smartest person and they don't have to trust AI. Because yeah, I don't know if you guys all heard Donna's story. So the other big thing that I wanted to discuss, like I talked about, one of the biggest, actually the biggest, from what if one of the research things I read, more money is spent on supplements than on the medical industry. Like billions and billions and billions of dollars on your favorite Instagram influencer saying, drop DM me in the link below and whatever, and I'll tell you how to buy my newest supplement. I actually had somebody say, can we sell this as a supplement? No, this is for stylists, this is to help them. But there are a lot of people making a ridiculous amount of money on supplements. So facts, so that you can tell your clients this. Here are the only things in supplement deficiencies that actually cause hair, that affect hair in any way. So if you are anemic, if you are iron deficient, that can cause hair loss, because hair dividing, you guys know this is chemo. The fastest dividing cells in your body are your hair, your fingernails, and the lining of your gut, which is why when you go through chemo and it kills the fast dividing cells, you lose your hair, your fingernails get brittle, and you throw up all the time. So whenever there's fast dividing cells, you need iron and hemoglobin. If you are iron deficient, if you are anemic, your hair, as with everything, if there's a panic situation in your body will protect the most important things first: brain, lungs, heart, liver, kidneys, and your gut. Your skin, your muscles, your hair, they're like way down the line. And so if you're anemic, all of the blood flow is going to go to the most important things. Your hair is less necessary for the enzyme that also, it not only hemoglobin but DNA replication. You have to have iron for it, which is fascinating because iron is so toxic. And as we all know, women are the most likely candidates for anemia. So if they're iron deficient, then yes, that might cause issues with your hair. Another big one is deficient in zinc. And Deanna found all these amazing pictures of places where you can get these. By the way, pumpkin seeds, pumpkin seed extract, fabulous to take. Do not buy the expensive one. Just buy the one from your local store. It's not better if it's got a better label. Lynn.
I just had a client today ask me about pumpkin seed oil to put on her scalp to help. And I was like, I don't know about that, but I know you can take it and it helps. But I don't know about transdermally in the scalp. So would it work transdermally on the scalp to put it on there
It
to make the hair grow?
It would, however, you then deal with you have a ridiculously oily scalp, because what you're going to need to do is massage it into your scalp for 10 to 15 minutes and then leave it there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because
Yeah.
I just told her, I said, I'd rather see you take it versus trying to put it on your scalp and your hair's already thin. And I would hate to have it oily and dirt attract the oil and all that. I said, that's just in the shampooing and drying it out with that. Like, yeah. So,
And then when they shampoo it, all of the effects are going to be gone.
right, gone. That's what I told her.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Cool. I was right.
Yep. However, very, very useful to take the supplements. So again, you can be the hero to your client and tell her. Shellfish and red meats are another fabulous place to get zinc. So if you do not have enough zinc, it is essential for a whole bunch of gene expression and protein synthesis. So if you need to, as you are remaking your body, which we do all the time anyway, you have to have zinc. If it is not there, then again, you'll protect the important bits first. It's really called hedgehog signaling. That is the name that scientists who have a weird sense of humor give it to when you need to start regrowing hair. If you don't have zinc, then that hedgehog pathway, signaling pathway, shuts down. And other symptoms come. And so if your client's like, oh, I think I'm iron deficient. Well, if they're a woman, they probably are. Or if they're zinc deficient, here are some of the other things. Slow wound healing and abnormal taste and smelling. Like you will not be able to, like COVID almost. Things will smell weird. You won't be able to recognize them or taste them. Yep. And then fatty acids. And again, the linoleic is the biggest one. These are some of the ones that are essential for our hair: linoleic, oleic, palmitic, and stearic. Interesting thing about how they react, but if you've ever talked to me, you hear me go on and on about how important lipids are. Protection, softness, strength. They are also antioxidant, so they will take free radicals and actually quench them and make them harmless. And your body actually uses them for a lot of pathways, and they can be absorbed into the follicle. So some of the big ones: omegas, that's in pumpkin seeds. Vitamin E, which really helps with wound healing, is a fatty acid. Cholesterols, they're actually incredibly important. I know we're like, oh, everything should be low cholesterol. Your body makes cholesterol. And so you just need to give it the precursor so it can make it. So if you do not have enough fatty acids, your hair will start to fall out. It's one of the signs of malnutrition. And the hair that falls out first, interestingly enough, is eyebrow. Your eyebrows will start to fall out. Like, okay, I'm gonna go take my pumpkin seed pills now because I don't want to lose my eyebrows. There's not much differentiation on my face anyway. Multiple studies have shown that topical application, specifically with linoleic acid, helps with regrowth, but they all have a different theory. I actually found 4 different theories about why linoleic acid helps with regrowth. Like Donna said, big in Uveni. Anyway, and excellent antioxidants. They're fabulous for that. Okay, we're going to hurry because I really want to show you this. Biotin. How many of you guys have heard about biotin? Would you like to know what it does so that you can give people facts? This is what biotin looks like. Biotin, true biotin deficiency is rare because your body makes it. Your body will create this on its own as it's needed. Specific bacteria in your gut biome, which is so important, will make all that you need unless you have a genetic marker for, or the other time they found, and I know, Courtney, we got to watch out for you on this one, is eating excessive raw egg whites.
Wow.
I'm like, okay, I'm enough of a scientist. I'm like, 1, what's excessive? 2, who's eating? Because it's only the whites. It's only if you eat the raw egg whites. The yolks actually make it so that it doesn't happen. Who's eating raw egg whites? What is going on, Lynn? Please tell me you have an answer for this.
It's mostly people that work out because they say there's a research that says that the egg whites have the most protein and the yolk is the fat, which can cause heart issues. That there's research on that. So the separate, you can buy containers of egg white, like just
Really?
in the store, yeah. And then you can put it in your smoothies. You can put it ever. It's most people I know that are heavy athletes, heavy weightlifters, and work out a lot, cyclists and stuff. They eat raw egg whites. It's crazy.
Okay.
Well, and those of us with texture things, we're not eating any of the things raw.
No.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
The question I had, it's funny that I'm glad that you said that, Lynn, because I know a couple people that are heavy into weightlifting and they've been complaining lately of losing their hair. So
Oh,
so maybe they are
Tell them to eat a
biotin
yolk.
deficient. Yes,
Eat a yolk or
tell-
two.
eat the yolks. Tell them to
the
go eat
yolk.
the yolks. When you said specific bacteria in your gut biome, make all you need, unless you have a genetic marker for it, would that be the MTHFR gene?
Okay, I will have to get back to you because I have Swiss cheese brain, and
Uh-huh.
this is one of the reasons I was terrible on tests. I can see it, but I cannot remember its names. Again,
Yeah.
if we ever,
Well, it's got a crude nickname.
oh,
If you
really?
spell it out, MTHFR. Okay.
Okay,
So,
okay,
uh, so
okay.
so that because that's one that I'm deficient in, or I've got that genetic. I've got there's numerous ways that the MTHFR gene is expressed,
Yes,
and I have one of them that makes it difficult for me to absorb certain nutrients.
okay. And yeah, if you know it, then you know you have it. And
Yeah,
then you have worked with your doctor to find other ways to deal with it. But
yeah,
it's kind of a rare thing. And
yeah.
usually you know pretty much from the hospital as you were
Mm.
born that you have it.
Yeah. Well, you got to kind of do a DNA analysis of your nutrition and
Yes,
such.
yes.
So,
But
Yeah.
there are a whole bunch of other markers that come into it that
yeah.
let you know that they're an issue. What were you going to say, Court?
I'm just giving you your 10-minute reminder so you can get
Okay.
up there and congratulate your boy.
Okay, thank
Yes.
you. So biotin, this is the most effective thing that people have found taking a biotin supplement if you do not have the genetic condition. Some people who have onychozoxia have found that
Onychoschisia.
thank you so much. It helps with their fingernails. That's about the most effective thing that it does. The studies where they're
Split
quote,
nails.
yeah,
It's split nails.
if you have that though.
Yes.
So, okay, how are we doing? Okay, we are going to post this on our socials. This, I think, is another thing that's important. If your client is taking a lot of supplements, if you have a nutrient deficiency, these are where you get it. So biotin, some places you get a deficiency is if you have anti-epileptic seizure medicine that you take. That can occur. Or if you use prolonged antibiotic use, and I looked up prolonged and they said years. Maybe we shouldn't be taking, I know, Courtney, maybe we shouldn't be taking antibiotics for years, or again, excessive ingestion of raw egg whites. So if your client's like, oh yeah, I'm using biotin to make my hair grow, you can say, okay, I'm going to teach you so you don't waste your money. It's not necessary, but all of these things, these are the places you will get this deficiency. If they don't have these, most likely they don't truly need a supplement. It's not going to hurt them. Actually, there are some, if you take too much iron, it actually can hurt you. But again, the biggest one that we have to deal with is malnutrition. is there's a lot of eating disorders. This is how it manifests. So here's the really cool bit. This is what I got from Stanford. Yes, Lynn, yes, you can get a copy of this. This is your metabolism. And so when somebody says, jumpstart your metabolism, or here's how you get your metabolism going. By the way, before we get there, this chart, they actually have a disclaimer that says, if you see any errors, let us know. And the day after I got it, new research came out that shows that there are parts of this that are out of date. This is your metabolism. Oh, I went too fast. Yeah, so starts up really close, and then, is it going? That is how your body uses food. Yes. And just so you know, everywhere there's like these lines, that means there's multiple reactions going on. There's a whole bunch going on in here. And interestingly, I can't remember where it was, but researchers came out the day after I got this and showed that one of these reactions is wrong. And we're going to trip out Deanna for just a minute, because what happens is, in order for that reaction to move forward, you actually have to go into the quantum realm to make it happen. Legitimately, that's the only way it could move forward with our limited understanding. And so this is now wrong. But one really cool thing, I don't think I can. Up here is this part of aromatic acid or aromatic amino acid metabolism. Start over here, and then it does a series of reactions, mixes with tyrosine, and then there's a dopa inhibitor and a couple other things. You make dopamine, epinephrine, and norepinephrine, the feel-good chemicals. If you have tyrosinase, then it comes up here, makes dopaquinone, and makes melanin, the stuff that colors our hair. And so if you are really stressed out, your body will actually suppress this tyrosinase, and you will make more dopamine, epinephrine, and norepinephrine, and not as much melanin, and stress will make your hair turn gray.
Wow. Cool.
Right there. And that's why this came from grad school. But okay, there's one more thing I wanted to show you guys about just how incredible our bodies are. And if you can pass this on to your clients at all, or just, this is part of what you guys do. This is the inner life of a cell. And this is one of the coolest animations that show what's going on in our cells, because everything starts with a cell. This is actually a white blood cell. And when it gets to somewhere and it needs to stop, it grabs on. That sea that it's floating on is actually the cell membrane. And those white things that are through that cell membrane are receptors. So this is why I wanted to show you this. This is inside of a cell. Okay, see those pillars? That's actin. That's the stuff that actually makes your hair grow. Those are the same proteins. That's actin forming.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And that's what keeps it in its place. If it needs to break down, there are little proteins that do that. Those are microtubules that do a different job. And you guys might have seen this. That's them breaking down and being reused because something broke. Have you guys seen this?
No.
This is how hormones get moved around in your cells. This is called a motor protein, and it really does. It walks and is so cool. So mitochondria, and there's Golgi apparatus. This is RNA leaving the nucleus because nothing gets into the nucleus. You have to protect the DNA. This is a ribosome making a protein. And it's amazing that this happens billions and billions of times a minute. And it's all happening without us even knowing, without us doing anything. This is a peptide leaving the cell, going to do another job. This is pretty amazing. There's more of the motor protein. Courtney actually, was it Courtney? Did you ask me if these things can get knocked off?
That was me.
They don't. That's the go. Yeah. This is how we get happy chemicals to our brains, all because of how cell membranes work and what they do and how just incredible they are. Anyway, I need to run, but yes, actually, if you go to YouTube, pretty sure my proteins are the angry marching ones. If you go to YouTube, it's Inner Life of a Cell, and it's pretty amazing. I have to run. Everybody, make sure that Courtney has your information. I truly would like to do a roundtable with you guys. This has been so good. I can't even tell you how much it meant to me that you guys came, that you guys shared. It was so good to see you. I got to run. Have a
Tell
good
Carl
night.
congratulations.
Thank you,
from all of
Camie.
us.
I will. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thanks, Camie.
Thanks.
Thank you. Awesome as always.